Hi friends, it's Jenny. And so a couple of weeks ago, I was out of town. I think a lot of you know that. I was out of town for some family things. My mother-in-law had major surgery, and we were sitting there. She had come home from the hospital, and we were there for a couple more days as we headed into the weekend. And Bead Box Bargains put up their trick or treat promotion, and I think I just needed some bead therapy, but I had very limited bead budget left. This was the end of the month. This was the end of October. I'd spent pretty much everything. And I was talking to my husband and I was like, well, they've got this thing. I want to put it in order and get the little, freebie collection of 5 items. And he asked his mom to pick a number. I don't remember what the range was. It was like between 2 and 20 or something like that. And she picked 14. And he's like, okay, so you just got $140 extra bead budget. I did not spend all of that here. I did save some of it. But I definitely put in an order that was bigger than was required to get the free gift. But I got a whole bunch of stuff that I wanted. I was like, I'm going to go into my wish list. I'm going to grab the things that I want, whether or not they're getting low on stock. So this was a wish list shopping spree that I did. And it's going to have a free goodie in here. It's pretty big. It's not big enough to be in a box like that other haul that I had not too long ago. But it is pretty big, and I have not even opened it yet, so I haven't blacked out my name on the packing list. Let me take that out off camera, or my address. Thank you, Valerie, who packed my order. I don't know if any of them watch our stuff, but this is a 4-page packing list, guys. 4 pages, but I will show you. At the end, I spent some money. I did spend almost $100, but I got free shipping because if you spent $50, you got free shipping. And I got $42 off using my 30% coupon because I'm a subscriber to the Bargain Bead Box. If you are not already a subscriber to the Bargain Bead Box and you want to subscribe, that link will be in the description below. If you use that link, it helps me get my next box. But also, if you are a subscriber, then each month they're going to give you a coupon code that is reusable. You can use it on as many orders as you want. That gives you 30% off. There are sometimes exclusions to that when they have the extra value bundles that are already more than a 50% discount. So you might not be able to use it on those, but you can use it on the companion bundle. You can use it on any of the new things they add. You can use it on the weekly specials, which are discounted 25%, and then you can still take an additional 30% off of that. So there's a lot that you can use it on. I do recommend, and here's the mystery treat bag with 5 surprises for beading, not eating. I just saw that. It's so cute. That was the description for the little treat bag. But I'm just going to, just so that I don't have to think about it, I'm just going to black out my address real quick. It's only on the first page. So I'm just going to black out my address so that as I go through this box with you, I can, or this haul, it's not a box. It could be in a box, but it's not a box. And I can kind of go over what we got. Now, one of the things that Becky and I are doing this month is for everything that we open, we are doing a design on the fly. So I'm trying to see, this is a new device that I'm recording on right here. So it's taking a little bit of adjustment, but I got it. It might help with some of the other things that I've been having going on, or it might not, but I got it because I ran into a problem when I was doing those videos ahead of that surgery for Becky, and I had one that was a lot longer, and I couldn't process it off my phone without deleting a whole bunch of stuff, which I guess I could have done, but we ended up having to upload it in a lower quality because I didn't have enough space. Because it has to have the original space the video takes, the space the video takes when you have does a little bit of editing and exporting it, but it also takes additional space beyond that for temporary files while it's going through that process. So it takes a lot of space to process a video off of your phone to upload. So I got one that is similar to one of Beki's that has a lot more space. So things are a little bit different on camera. Like I feel like this is closer than I'm used to. I wonder if I can just go ahead and, nope, hold on. Out. That's as far as it won't let me actually zoom out. Okay, that's different. That's different. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'll just have to remember that, especially when I do like big hauls. I might not be able to zoom it out so that it's farther away. But I got a whole bunch of stuff, guys. And I've got my little trick-or-treat bag in here and some free items. Let's get into... Oh, what I was going to say is Beki and I, everything we open, we're going to do a design on the fly. And that's, you know, subscription boxes as well as any haul stuff that we open on camera. So since this was a nice big order, I decided I would do that. I was afraid of that. They gave me a metal pendant. I like some of the colors and stuff they gave me, but they gave me a metal pendant. So until I can test it, I can't actually use that to do a design. I was thinking of doing a design on the fly with my little bundle, but not if they gave me a metal pendant, which they did. Okay. Let me get this pile organized a little bit, and then I will be back to go over everything that I got with you. Okay, so while I was away, I went ahead and figured out with my phone if I could, you can actually zoom in, but it drops the quality. So it drops from like 4K to 1080. And that's why I couldn't zoom in while I was actively recording in 4K. So I am still in 4K, but my arm that my phone sits in is not super easily adjustable. So I had to reposition it to get just a little bit more in the way of a view of this mat. So it's a little bit higher up than I can normally do, and keep an eye to make sure I'm still on camera. So hopefully I will stay on camera during this. If I miss, I might not know while I'm recording, but just know that I don't mean to. So I am going to go ahead and go through these. I've got them in two trays in the order that they are in the packing list. I've got my lovely little ladybug dish that Beki gave me for showing off our stuff. And let's get into what all of these things are in my order. So this is kind of a big haul. Like I said, I am going to be doing a design on the fly with some of these items at the end of this video. So stick around for that if you'd like. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to make. I'm going to see what speaks to me when I am opening this. Let's go ahead and start with a little mystery bundle, because some of you might only be here to see what I got. Like I said, I was disappointed just seeing in the package before I even open it that it is unfortunately a metal pendant. So I'm a little bit bummed about that, but I am not bummed that they, oh, green and orange because it's Unikite. Okay, not loving this. This is like the super bright in your face orange that I have a really, really hard time working with. Like super, super bright. But let's look at it anyway. So this is an antique copper pendant. Without nickel testing, I'm not sure if I can use it. But it does look like it has probably a Unikite stone in it. So we'll see if I can end up using that or not. I don't know yet. And then there is a strand of Unikite beads. If these other selections are more of a muted orange leaning into red, I might be more inclined to use them. But I'm not sure. I'm not a huge fan of Unikite, but I do love green, and I can see ways to work this in with other selections. Let me put it on the dish. Let me try to adjust this light again so that you can see. Again, I can't really see like what's actually being recorded at the moment, so I'm thinking this is pretty good, if a tiny bit dark. This was the pendant. And then these are the AB, they look like they're matte AB bicones. If I was doing something really citrusy, I could see using something this vibrant. So I'm not going to get rid of them, but they are definitely not going to be making it into one of my more standard designs. Like this is super bright. Like this is like an orange popsicle kind of brightness. So not huge into that. And then this is also, again, very, very like navel orange. So I saw some really, really pretty selections. There are some people who got some great collections, and this might suit somebody else. I have friends who absolutely love orange and love orange and green together. I just don't think that this orange goes with this green. They're like super bright and then nice and muted. But I do love these check glass leaves. I think those are really pretty. And I will use those. I will use those for sure. I'll probably, like I said, use the Unikite. I'll have to find out if I can use the pendant. That will have to be tested first. Just because I know for a fact, because I look at everything when they come up, when all of these great gemstone pendants showed up with their antique copper settings, I checked them and they weren't listed as nickel free. So that's not saying that there is nickel, but I don't have the confidence going into it that, hey, yeah, this is a thing that I'll be able to use. So definitely something to check on. But that was my little mystery bundle, like why I placed the order that day. I'm a little bit disappointed, friends. I'm not usually, but I'm trying to be positive. But I am disappointed. I know I have some friends who love Unikite, and I have some friends who love orange. And so maybe they'll end up in a little gift to someone at some point. I'll think about that for later. But I'm just going to put this back in my little Halloween bundle so that they stay together. Like I said, I like the leaves. I probably will use the leaves, so they may end up in my stash. I know I have that shape, but I don't think I have this color yet from the beads that I got in one of my previous orders. So I'm just going to move that out of the way, crinkly paper and all. And let's start going into my list. So the first category is the bead caps. I'm just doing them in order because that's the easiest. I like to, anytime I find bead caps listed that are nickel free, because a lot of times they are not listed as nickel free. Not saying that they have nickel, but since they don't have that in the description, I don't spend my money on something that I have to test. Like if something comes in a box is part of like a curation or is a free gift, then that's fine. But I don't choose to put something in my cart that is metal that I don't know I can use. So when I do see them, I grab them. So this is cap 1107 and they're nickel free. I showed them that they're dotted in antique bronze. I also got these ones. I thought these were really pretty. I like the ones that look like petals or leaves. These are 1111, cap 1111. And they always try to go, the other direction. Let me turn a few of these over so that you can see better. But it's a five point, but it's like a leaf motif. And I thought that those would be really pretty. I didn't say what size. So the first ones were 11 by 4. These are 10 by 4. So they are going to be better on a larger bead just because of the size. But I thought that they're really pretty and could add some nice foliage style accents to some of what I might make this month. So I am happy about those. These are definitely big, and I think I already have some of these. They're 12 by 3 scalloped flower bead caps, also in antique silver. And the bigger ones are oftentimes harder to use, just because I don't use a whole lot of large beads. But I did recently get some really pretty green glass pearls that these would definitely fit on and might look really nice. So I think that's still something. Like I said, when I see them, I make sure I grab them. And these are 11/16. And then I've got three more packs of bead caps. These ones I don't really want to open the package because it's not, actually I'll just transfer it to a zip package. That's going to be the easiest solution. I have extra little baggies here. I'll just transfer it to one of these. Then I can open it and show it to you without, because I store my caps and everything in their bags. So I don't want to just have it loose. I don't put caps in boxes and wells, usually just because they're so small and they're easier to use out of the bag. But these are really cool. So these were listed as, let's see, 11/26 are listed as 6 petal flower bead caps in antique gold. But if you look really close, each of those petals looks like it has kind of a rune on it. Like they actually look like little runes. Can you see that? And I thought those were really cool. This is also the size and style of small bead cap that I like, that I have a lot in stainless steel or silver, but I didn't have in gold. And so I really wanted to use these. Now, when they're on beads, you're not really going to see those kind of markings that look like runes, but I do. Like when I saw the listing, I was like, those look like runes. But yeah, they're a flower shape. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, transfer these into another little baggie. Those are 6 by 2 millimeter, so they'll fit nicely on most of the beads that we get in our collections. But again, they're just a tiny little cap. And I don't know if this will transfer over or not, this style of sticker. It is. There, now I even have the number on it, 11/26. Okay, and then we've got these guys. This is cap 353. They're 9 by 5, so these are bigger. They're dotted flower cone bead caps. So you can see they've got a lot more height. Some of these are tilted off on their side, so you can see they've got a lot more height. And they create almost like a belled out flower shape that I thought was really nice. But they do have the dotted, and they are 6 petal. And I thought those will be fun for some of my, I knew that we would be getting some collections that are a little bit more ornate, and I thought that they might go well with some of those things. So I wanted to get them. And again, they're bead caps that are actually listed as nickel free. So 353, snag them up. And then finally, this last one, I have this in another metal tone. I don't think I have this in the antique bronze, so I went ahead and got it. These are 9 by 4 scalloped cutout bead caps. I'll turn a couple of them over so you can see better. But they kind of have, because they're scalloped and they're kind of dotted, they have a little bit of like a rope feel to them. Maybe I have them in antique copper. I know I have them in another color. I don't think I have them in this color. But again, I like this style. Anything that is either smaller or has cutouts, like a filigree style bead cap, they can be a little bit fiddly to work with. But I like them because they actually show more of the color of the bead underneath them. They don't fully cover. So this compared to, for example, this is going to cover more. This is going to show more of your bead. So I got a few bead caps. And then we're going to get into some check glass. I got just a few colors in check glass shapes. I did get some other glass beads, but they are in the glass category. I think you probably saw them at the beginning. I got a whole bunch of bicones and rondelles that are part of that. But in the check section, this is 4072. I don't know if I showed you the number for that last bead cap. That last bead cap was 459. So we've got 4072. And these are pressed glass geometric flower coin beads jet with multi-iris. And they are just absolutely covered in that iris finish, and it's so pretty. Let's see if I can get, let's try that. That's kind of catching the light a little bit better. So a little bit of adjustment in my light. Harder for me to see the viewfinder, but I think that you're seeing that finish a lot better. So I got a couple other shapes in check glass. These are little ladybugs. They are 10 by 7, and there's 10 of them. I got the opaque red with the gold wash. There were some other ladybugs, but these are the ones that I liked best. I like those. And they're 7390. And then we have 7393, and these are polar bears. Pressed glass polar bears. They're 12 millimeters. There's 4 of them. They're alabaster with a marbled gray. Look how pretty those are. I like those. Not quite the shape of Zuni bears, so I'm not gonna like go into that, but I like those. I like and they're a masculine shape and a masculine color. So if I wanted to make some things, I call my husband Bear. If I wanted to make something for him, I might include something like this. And they are drilled top to bottom, is where that hole is. The ladybugs are also top to bottom, I believe. Yes, they are. I like to mention how things are drilled in case that's important to you. So because of this light, it is going to glare more off of the packages, but it does show the finish better in that position. So then I absolutely love Capri Blue. So they have these. It's a strand, a 4.7-inch strand of 8 millimeter check fire polished glass faceted round beads in Capri Blue. I adore Capri Blue. It's one of my favorite check glass colors. And so I had to get it. And that's number 1175. That's harder to see. When it's a stranded item, the number they put it on the bag they put it in. And if you get multiple strands, they're just listed all on the same bag that they come in. So that's why that one is handwritten. Okay, so that finishes our check glass and our caps, and then we've got some findings. I did it, guys. I might not give you like sizes on everything because this is still a lot of stuff to go through, and I want you to enjoy that. But I saw there's so many cute charms that have come out, and I wish more of them had the metal information stating if they're nickel-free or not. But I did get some that are nickel-free and safe. So I got these little wreath charms that are just adorable. And they are pretty small. But on earrings, they'd be perfect. Perfect on earrings. Or as a dangle on a bracelet. That's really fun. And then I also got some of these. These are a little bit bigger. That was a 2190, which I think she said was a restock. They've had that one before, but I wasn't around last Christmas, so this is new to me, friends. And then we've got these little reindeer, and I love them. They're so cute. They're 4072. Look at these little reindeer. I love that they're white. They are going to go so much more easily with some of the designs that I would choose to make this holiday season. So I'm excited about those. And this is they're charms, but this one is actually probably big enough that on a simple necklace, you could actually use this as a necklace and a couple of earrings. They don't mirror each other. They're only on one side. They don't mirror each other, so they would be doing that. But anyway, they were super cute, and I wanted them, so I got them. And then these are bookmark. These are flower detailed bookmark findings. This is the antique bronze, and then I got the same again in antique silver. I love to read. There's also a lot of people in my life who love to read. So I got these so that I might be able to craft some gifts. And they're just like a shepherd's crook shape. They have little butterflies and flowers, and they've got a loop for you to attach a strand to. And you just make that strand however you want, and then it'll sit in the book, and the strand will hang down the spine of the book. So that's the antique bronze. Here's the same again in antique silver. Same pattern, same shape. Okay. And then I've got some chandeliers. I love multi-point connectors. There's some other ones that were added in the last week or so that I really like. A lot of them aren't nickel-free, but some of them are, and you can bet they're in my wish list. I'm not sure when I'm placing another order, but I thought these were really pretty with that little flower on them. I love flowers, and especially when we get back into the spring and everything, these are going to be lovely. They are one-sided, but they can be used in earrings and have, dangles coming from them. You can use them as multi-point connectors for a multi-strand bracelet or necklace. They're just, I like having a lot of connection points. That's something Becky was excited about. I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And then I started making things. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Same words, different tone. And then some more flowers. I love flower stuff. So these are floral teardrop links. So they are one-sided, but instead of just being a drop and a pendant, it is actually like continues on both directions. So these are really charming, and again, they were nickel free, so I could buy them, and I think I'm going to have a lot of fun playing with those. I don't think I gave you numbers. 5145 on the flower chandeliers, and 5153 on the teardrop links, flower teardrop links. And then we've got this one. This is 5163. It's a triple leaf charm. And I'm not sure about the jump rings on it. So it's in antique silver. It is safe for me to use. These jump rings seem very large to me and not very smooth. Like, that's a little bit warped and stuff. But I could easily take them off the jump rings and use them somewhere else. They are one-sided. That's the back. Leave one the wrong way. I'll probably just get rid of those jump rings and use them somewhere else. I think it would be cute as a charm for earrings. They're not that heavy. And then to accent a focal, maybe on a necklace, one on either side of a focal. But I would just switch those out for some smaller jump rings that aren't so bent. That's what I would do. And some more charms, some more leafy charms. This is 5165. Oh, switch to my next page. Okay, guys, we've got through the first of 4 pages. It's not 4 full pages. It's just really darn close to 4 full pages. These are just leaf drops in antique silver, 16 by 6 millimeter, and there are 20 of these. So, and they have that leaf veining etched on one side, and then the other side looks concave. So like when you actually look at a leaf, it doesn't look the same front to back. Well, neither do these, but they still both look like leaves, just depending on which side of the leaf you're looking at. So that's kind of cool. You could mix that up if you wanted to, or you could have them all face the same direction, but they look good no matter which direction you use them. I like those a lot. Those are 5165. I don't remember if I showed you that number. If I show you a number multiple times, I'm sure you forgive me. I try to remember to at least show you the number. And then this is 5131. And again, I'm getting ready for winter. So the next few selections are all snowflakes. This is a little gold CZ. I think it's CZ. Let me take, yes. It is gold, 18 karat gold plated brass snowflake link. And it's the 17 by 15 millimeter. and I'm going to, and it's 5132, and I'm actually going to leave it out on its bag because these next few items are very similar. They're different sizes and different platings. This one is platinum plated, and again, all of these are brass, but they're nickel-free brass. So even if the plating wears through, I can use this. Oh, that's got a little bit of a curve to it. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so this one is flat. This one has a little bit of a curve to it. Like you could use this on a link for a really delicate bracelet. I don't know if you can see that curve. It's got just a little bit of it bumps forward. And it's a different style. So this is 5231. This is 5232. Platinum plated. It is the same size. No, it's not. This is 20 by 14 in the platinum plated. And then this one, okay. So this next one I'm opening is the same as this one, but in the 18 karat gold. So it also has that little tiny bit of a curve. It's a very delicate curve, but it is there. And that's 5233. Really pretty. I like these really delicate snowflake links. They make me happy. And then this one is a pendant. It's a platinum plated CZ pendant. It is very small. Maybe I should have got 2 of those and used them for earrings. But again, with a delicate necklace, it could be really nice. And I might be doing some really delicate things because that to me also says winter. We'll see. I may or may not get more of that. That's 5238 if it's still available. And then, okay, so that's it for the snowflakes. Tucking them away. Showed them all together though, so you could see the differences between these designs. And I did get 2 gold and 2 platinum plated. I got some snowflakes from another source. They have not come in yet. In fact, I don't think it's shipped. I might need to follow up on that because we are getting into the season. But snowflakes, I'm going to be making with those through February at least. I am a winter girl. I'm really excited about winter things. So this is 5245, and these are cat charms. These are cat charms. They're stainless steel, laser cut, rectangular cat charms, and they're just a little pretty kitty. And it is a set of 2, so those are going to make some cute earrings. Maybe a gift for my mom. She loves cats, but she can't have cats because so many of her kids are allergic, like me. But we'll see. This one I got 2 sets. These are owl links. They are gold with a turquoise color. Those are not actual turquoise, but it's 5639. Looks like they changed the number on it and they stuck another number over it. But it's these cute little guys. How adorable are they? They're really cute, and I think they're fun. And I got 2 sets. Not sure exactly why. I don't know that I had a specific idea in mind for them, but they are links with like rings on either side where the wings would be tucked in against their body. Okay. And I went ahead and just put all of them in the same package because that's what I do when I get multiples. I didn't get a whole lot of multiples. Maybe I accidentally got multiples of that. I might have accidentally put it in my cart twice. But now it's time for some gemstones. Now it is time for some gemstones. So they added some satin spar selenite in multiple colors. These are all 5.5-inch strands of 8 millimeters. So these are the different colors. They're all dyed. This is the Alexandrite, and it is beautiful and icy and is going to be incredible to work with during my wintry stuff. I probably should have gotten more than 1 strand because that is beautiful and I love it. I love it. It's this wintry purple blue. So nice. And then we've got the same again in a green. There were a couple of different shades of green. This is the one that I chose. This is going to lend itself more towards the spring when it comes, but again, it's a beautiful stone, and I knew that I would want to work with it, so I went ahead and got some. There's just something that's kind of ethereal about the satin spar selenite that I really, really enjoy a lot. So I also got it in a rose pink. Again, you might see this closer to February and on into the spring, but I loved the stone and I loved the color. I love how you can see like a lot of it is clear, but also a touch cloudy. Like I said, it's a bit ethereal and I enjoy that. So that's it. That's actually it for gemstones that I got, but they were in my wish list and I was shopping and I knew I'd be getting a 30% off. So while these are listed at $6 each, that's not what I paid for them. I paid a little over $4 for each of these strands. So if my mathing is mathing right, should be just over $4. I don't have the actual calculation because I don't sell my jewelry, so I don't work out the cost per strand or per bead. I know a lot of you do, and my friend Heather, when she unboxes her collections and things like that, she does go into what is the cost per item. That's Heather Aston at TT's Trinkets and Treasures, in case you don't know her yet. So that's it for the gems. And then I've got a whole bunch of glass items. So I'm going to move these a little bit farther up on my map because right now we're making a giant pile because that's apparently what we're doing, but tucking it a little bit out of way. All right. So this is where I've got a lot of these glass selections. And I am going to spill a few of them out onto my dish because my light is positioned in a way that it's going to glare off those packages. So I'm going to show you a few. These first four are all bicones. This is Crystal Peach. And I love color-lined beads. So they're crystal with the peach inside. And that is what I did with all of the bicones I'm opening today are crystal lined with a color. So this is crystal lined with peach. This is crystal lined with yellow. And it's this really nice, soft, like lemon chiffon kind of yellow, which I really enjoy. Beki's not always a yellow person, but this is one of the shades that she does like. And I think that that's pretty. This one will look familiar. I have gotten this before. They still had some, and I love it because it's green. This is the deep green, crystal with deep green. And I had to get more while they still had it. I don't know if they still do. It's 1468. I wasn't telling you the numbers on these. The peach one is 1465, 1466 for the yellow. That's kind of a yellow chiffon. Oh, I didn't show you the selenite numbers either. Oh, I'm pouring these back into I got distracted by numbers and forgot what I was doing. But these are definitely something I'm going to be using a lot. That's why I went ahead and got more. The tanzanite, selenite, or alexandrite rather, is 7269. The green, 7272, and the pink, 7274, rose pink. If any of those are still available, those are the numbers they'll be under. And then we've got these bicones. There are going to be more coming, but there's a break in the numbers. They were two different groups, and so their numbers are farther apart. But these are super, super, super pale pink, and that's actually what it's called, crystal pale pink. It's 1470, and they are very, very delicate pale pink. If I'd had these with me when I was doing that bridal set for my nephew's wife now, because they are married now, I would have probably brought these and shown her, and she probably would have loved them. That's okay. I will use them for something else because they're really nice and dreamy. Okay, so we're going to come back to some bicones in a little bit, but in the meantime, we've got some rondelles. These are $14.81, and I think these ones I don't really need to pull out because you can see that color pretty well. This one is the matte aqua, and then I also got the matte Caribbean blue because I love blues. I love blues in any shade, and it doesn't matter to me that these are similar. They're enough different that I wanted them. So 1481 is the more blue toned. 1482 is the more, oh, there's one that's not opaque. Got one that mixed in. These are machine sorted, so little things like that will sometimes come through. This one is more like a pastel tone. So I like those. And then we got pale green, 1485. We got a pale yellow, 1486. Again, this is a very light yellow, like I said, more chiffon. It reminds me of lemon, like light lemon frosting. I don't know. I think they're cute. This is not so light. This is sunshine yellow, and I will definitely be having some fun with that. This is peach sorbet. Oh, sunshine is 1487. Peach sorbet is 1488. I love that color. It's so pretty. See, this is, to me, this peachy tones I do a lot better with than those really bright oranges I showed at the beginning of the haul. And then 1491. 1491 is pale pink. Pale pink. So I got those bicones. Guys, we made it through a second page. We are halfway there. Living on a prayer. Yeah, I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry, but not sorry, if you know what I mean. Okay, so these are some more bicones. Like I said, this was a different batch of them, so they're a little bit later numbers. These are 1500. The bicones I am spilling out just because I think you see the faceting and the color lining much better on the dish. So the rondelles are pretty much what you see in the bag is what you get. These color-lined bicones deserve a little bit closer look. But this is 1500, and it is blue, just listed as blue. And I like it. It's a very, like, sky blue, bright sky. Like, you know, when, like, the beautiful, bright blue sky that you get, the very deepest shade of it, farthest from the sun, that's what I think of. All right. And then we've got pale green. And these are very pale. I'm not sure if they'll show up as green, but they are. They're not even a mint green. It's just a tiny smattering of that. A hint of green. But they're very, very delicate color. They're not purely clear. They are lined, but they're super soft and light toned. And then we've got this one. That's the pale green. This is the light green. And you can see this green better, which I think is also lovely. Not as dark and moody as that deep green, but it's not meant to be green. It's supposed to be light and fluffy. Don't eat the beads, really. I mean, all these candy colors. I'm enjoying that. And then we have, this is the champagne. So this is, 1503, 1502. Yeah. This is 1504. These are champagne. Those to me are kind of more of like a pale butter yellow. But I can see why they call it champagne, because it's yeah. Not bright butter, pale butter. Oh, the trash was today and it didn't go out because we weren't paying attention. Excuse the noise. I'm going to see if I can pause real quick. Okay, the worst of that noise has gone. He's farther down the street. We have been gone. I don't know when this video will air. This is the week of all the things coming. So whether it's subscriptions or orders we've placed, everything's coming. So we give priority on posting our videos to our subscriptions or our collection boxes. But this might post sometime over the weekend or even next week. But we got home really late Monday night, actually 2 o'clock Tuesday morning, and our trash gets picked up on Wednesday. And yesterday, I think we were just catching up on everything, and apparently getting the bin out to the street for trash was not one of those things. So 1504 is just yellow. So this is more like standard yellow. We've had our pale yellow and the champagne color. I guess this one is a little bit more buttery than the champagne one. But it's a pretty yellow color that I like. 1505. 1507 is red. And because it is just lined inside this crystal, it comes off as almost like, trying to think what I would call that color. I don't call that red. It's in the pink family for me. But I really like it. It's almost like a deep rose. I could call that a deep rose. It's not what I think of as red, but it is called red, 1507. So when you're looking and you're like, oh, red, but you're actually wanting this pink color, it's okay. That's what they're calling red. And then speaking of pink, in addition to that red one, we have the official pink. And this reminds me of like carnation pink from your Crayola box. This is that pink. This is the carnation pink from your box of crayons. 1508. Again, candy colors. And then we have pale pink. And this is the last of the bicones. This is the pale pink. And each of these before my discount were only like $1.30 for a bag. So really great discount. And those really are a very nice pale pink, but not as pale as these are the ones from the previous lot. I'm not actually going to spill them out. This pale pink is more apparent than this other one. So they are different. I do have two pale pinks, but they're different colors. 1515. All right, so that's it for the bicones and the rondelles. I've got some pins. When I see something that I don't actually have available nickel-free, these are, they are brass, but they're nickel-free brass ball head pins, but they're long. They're 21 gauge, so I can do simple loops with them, but they're 70 millimeters, guys. So this is something that if you have like a center drilled large gemstone bead that you want to use as a focal, you could use this to turn that into a focal because it's a nice long pin. So I knew I didn't have that in my collection of findings, and I saw it and went ahead and grabbed it. And then we've got some pendants. So this is it's a blue spot jasper, 30 millimeter, and the bail that's on it is a stainless steel, so I can use it. It's just got an open loop at the top that you can just close and string on or attach to something if you want to add anything else to it. But the pendant slides around inside here. So it's not stuck in any one position. And you can see the blue spot jasper. You can see the different directions that it is. So I thought that was pretty. And being stainless steel, it's hypoallergenic and I could use it. So I went ahead and got myself one of those. They did have it in some other colors. I think there was a tiger's eye and at one point another one. But this one is 1537. And I wanted that. And I know it's the wrong season, but I know a lot of our friends live in sunnier climes and they have shells all year round. Even the ones who live near water farther to north, shells are still a part of where you are and maybe what some of your clients are looking for. These are handmade glazed porcelain scallop shell pendants. And it's actually 2 in a pack. And they are front drilled, they're top drilled front to back. So these would be a really cute one to do a delicate kind of extended double beaded bail loop. If you don't know what that is, you should take a look at some of my recent videos. It is something that I demonstrate and I'll probably keep making and keep demonstrating. But that is 3, 4, 5, 8. But that's how I would use those. Some might use that for earrings. They are a little bit heavy on their own, so you want to be careful what else you add if you want to use that for an earring. But I think they would make really pretty pendants for necklaces. And you could use a jump ring or other type of bail, but I would use this with like a delicate seed bead mix, possibly a fossil coral bead to cross the strands through. Something like that, or if you can get some other porcelain beads to use for your top bead. There's some ideas there. There's some ideas. I'll throw those out. Those are for free. I'm just kidding. All my ideas are free because we don't charge anybody to watch our content on our channel. So 3, 4, 5, 9. I love leaves. I may or may not use the attached bail for this, but it is a stainless steel 62 by 40, so it's a very good size leaf, and it's a pretty pendant. And it does have the detail on the front and back, but again, like I said, shaped like a real leaf that looks like the back of a leaf and the front of a leaf. But I think that one's going to be a lot of fun to play with. This is a big enough bail that it will fit on silver silk, it looks like. So maybe I will use it, but as a focal for a silver silk project, because that will string through like that. It is a nice size for doing that. I could see that maybe. Maybe or maybe not with this color. I'm not opposed to this color for it, but that's something that I could use with silver silk. And I do have some designs in mind for that. Okay. One more pendant. And this one doesn't try to describe it. It's like, this is just a hammered statement pendant. And it is, but it's got, to me, this is very nautical as well. Like, it feels like some of the motifs and patterns you would find on shells or sand dollars, or like maybe these are starfish. They're 4-point instead of 5, but it's kind of interesting. But it's got this large loop at the top. So you could do like a lark's head knot at the top and use it as a pendant. It's just different. That's the back of it. So it doesn't look bad on the back, but it does have a front and back. One is convex, the other concave with the design. So those are the pendants. And then I got stainless steel oval jump rings in 3 sizes. I'm not going to open these and pull them out, but oval jump rings are a lot stronger and more secure because the split is in the side of the oval. See this right here? The split is in the side of the oval, and so when it's being used as a link, the tension is on either side. You're not going to have anything slip through that because it's not right where something is connecting. So I did not have any oval jump rings. A big part of that is, again, my nickel allergies. So when I saw these come up, they're all stainless steel, hypoallergenic. They range from 18 to 21 gauge. So they're good, strong stainless steel. And they were either 99 cents or $1.09 for each of these. So we have let's do them in the order that I've got them. These are 8 by 5 and it's ring 179. These are 6 by 4 and it's 180. And then these are 5 by 4 and they're 181. So those are the rings that I got. kind of a functional thing, but it's something cool that I didn't already have and I don't often get access to. So I wanted to give those a try because I know they are going to be stronger, and I do like to use jump rings when I'm connecting links and things like that. So these are number, because now we're into our spacers, 1125. They're just Hawaiian flower spacer beads in antique silver. Again, I love me some flowers, whether they're metal or checked glass or, you know, anything else. I love me some flowers. Definitely going to be using those. This is 1593. These are corrugated rondelle spacer beads in antique silver. And I'm going to hold one. That's what it's going to look like when it's strung. That's the one thing about the rondelle shape, is that spilling it on my dish doesn't really show you what it's going to look like when you are using it as intended. But you can see the side of that is what's going to show in a strung design. These are just some basic gunmetal small spacer beads. They are nickel free. So again, I got them. I have some, but I was starting to run low. And I do like to use gunmetal color when I can find it nickel free. A lot of times nickel is actually added to create a gunmetal color. So that's one of the things to watch for. But this one is listed as nickel free, so I knew I could trust it. And that's 1754. And these are just 3.2 millimeters, 100 of those in there. And then we've got some chonky boys. These are also corrugated, large hole spacer beads. And I don't know if I actually checked to see if these were 3 millimeter holes or not. I don't remember, but I thought, because I don't have a whole lot of large hole things, that they might fit. They do, it's a snug fit, but they do fit on silver silk. These guys do. So my silver silk friends, if you're looking for some spacer beads that you can string directly onto pipe chain or knitted leather, these are 2052 in antique bronze. So they may not actually go with my normal spacers because I've been trying to keep the stuff that fits on silver silk separate. And you can see the difference in the size of this hole, which fits, and this hole, which does not. So yeah, these were in the companion bundle for September, and I liked them, and I used pretty much all of them when I recreated my sister's pattern for that necklace. It was a Bridgerton inspired netted necklace, really pretty. We dressed up for Halloween, and so I ordered these. I didn't know if they would come in time to be able to use them, and they didn't, which is fine because I just altered my pattern around the neck. But they're a cool looking bead, and I wanted more because I knew I was using all of them. So there's 10 of those guys. Fancy floral spacer bead, 2054. And again, these were in the September companion bundle from Bead Box Bargains. So they might look familiar. You might have some if you wanted more like I did. They did actually list them as a separate thing. 2056. I love fish beads. I can't help it. I cannot help it. These are, there's 20 of them, and they're cute. These are smaller than some of the other ones I've used before, and I love them this size. I have these in a larger size, and I got these ones. They're 9x7, and I think they're adorable. They're just adorable. I love fish beads, so I'm gonna have some fun with that. Like I said, I've got some aquatic themed stuff already. That's gonna be something I make with again, whether it's now or later in the summer. I don't care. I needed them. I also like cat beads. And these are antique copper cat beads. They're strung ear to ear. So they're strung through the side. So they are going to be better on a bracelet than on a necklace or as drops for an earring. But you could get creative with how you use those. You can get creative. But it is important to know how they string so that you can think of how you want to use them. But they are the same front to back. So on a bracelet, if they flip, it's no big deal. $2057. And then I've got a whole bunch of toggle clasps. So some of this was me wanting to get some new items that they got. I love a magnetic clasp, and there were a whole bunch of these that came up on closeout, and they were pretty cheap, and so I decided I would go ahead and get them. This is, trying to get the right, and a lot of these sets are like, this one is 4. Yeah, this is a set of 4 antique copper clasps. They don't have the little, they're just flat clasps, so they can slide apart, but it is a pretty strong magnet. I like to use magnetic clasps when I do my bracelet trios, and I haven't had them in some of the other colors like antique copper. I have magnetic clasps easily that are nickel free in silver and gold tones, but not in antique copper or antique bronze. And I wanted to be able to have some options, so I thought I would try these and play with them. This is 1064, 4-piece of antique copper. This is 1065. I got 2 of these, so I'm gonna, combine them into one bag. But this is a butterfly-shaped magnetic clasp. A lot of these are magnetic. We've got a few lobsters at the end, but most of these coming up are magnetic. So this one opens. So here's how it looks when it's closed. And it opens where you've got an oval on the back and then the butterfly shape. And it does have little divots and studs to help hold it in position so that it won't pull easily from side to side. But that's that little butterfly one. And I got 2 of those. I might get more now that I've seen it and I know I like it. But it's a good, sweet clasp. I think it's going to be adorable on bracelets. Unless I don't think it's ornate enough for me to want to use as like a front closure on a necklace, but it is cute. Depending on who you're making that for, you might do that. And then these next ones are sets of 3, which when I do my bracelet trios, it's sets of 3. So it's nickel-free brass, and it's similar to those larger antique copper ones, but these are smaller. They're 11 by 6. Those other ones were 14 by 8. But again, they're more the flat style, but a decently strong magnet. So I want to test these and play around with them. It is number 1075, and we got it in the antique silver. We got it in the antique gold. These are all the same size, just different colors. We got it in antique bronze and antique copper. Sets of 3, which, like I said, that's what I do with my bracelet trios. So I wanted to give them a try. And that is it for the magnetic clasps. These next ones are this is a toggle clasp. Where did it go? Oh, we're not done with magnetic clasps. These are the, look at how cool this toggle clasp is. I would probably work this into like a front or side closure. They're really cool. I like them. And it is a really, so this is where it's connected on one side, and then you would put it through here. You'd want to make sure that you had enough articulation to do it. But once that's through, I mean, that's not slipping loose very easily. Look how big that bar is with the rest of it. And that's how it would sit. But they are the same front to back, so you don't have to worry about it flipping, which means it would be really good to use as a front or side, or like it near your collarbone closure, because if it turns in your design, it's not a big deal. And that has a set of 3, 11, 50, 41. I probably forgot some numbers, but I'm not going back. Sorry. Hopefully I've been showing you the fronts of packages, so even if I haven't been saying them out loud, you've been able to see them. But those were really interesting, and I thought that it would be cool. Okay, then we've got some other larger. These are 2 sets, so this is more the same size. Not quite the same size as the antique copper. Those were 14 by 8. This is 13 by 8, so this is a tiny bit smaller, so not as long, but it is an 8mm round shape. So again, these are just the round ones. There's nothing to necessarily catch, but it is a decently strong magnet. And these ones are sets of 2. So we have this in gold. I think they called it, where is it? Okay, so this is just regular gold. They didn't try to call it antique gold. I'm like, that's not antique gold. Here's an antique copper, same size, and antique bronze, and antique silver. All the same size on those guys. And those are just sets of 2. And they are TOG 698, 702, 700, and 704. You can probably search for magnetic clasp, and if they're still available, they'll be there. Make sure that if you do put in a 2-word search that you put a plus instead of a space between them, because that narrows the search. If you leave a space, it widens the search. So just so you know. And then these other ones are just restocking some different colors and clasps. Like I do like to use the antique copper. When I use lobster claws, I like to use the big chunky jumbo ones. And then these ones are the gold, the antique bronze, yeah, antique gold, antique bronze, and antique silver with that heart shape with the swirly pattern. This was just restocking some staples while they're still available. So that's my haul, y'all. And I have a lot of beads here, and I'm gonna make something. I don't know what I'm gonna make, so I'm going to stop this video and come back, but I figure I could at least pull everything down onto my bead mat so you can see I got a lot of stuff, friends. So it's a little bit of a long haul video. So thank you for staying for the long haul. If you'd like to stick around just a little bit longer, let's see if we can make something. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a bracelet. Maybe I'll just do some earrings. But I'm going to get into this and see what I want to use. And I'll be right back. Okay, friends. I'm going to make a bookmark. I'm going to make a bookmark because I have not done that on this stuff. And I've got my little bookmark blanks, and I can make something that would make a really nice gift for someone. I just left out some bicones and rondelles in like this kind of yellow and green combination. I'm going to pour out some of those. We'll use one of my leaf charms as like the end of the dangle. And I did go ahead and bring in some of my little flower beads to give us some variation. I've got some seed beads. These are just some 11-0 crystal silver line seed beads just from my stash to add a little bit of space and dimension to the strand. I am going to be stringing on fluorite medium soft flex. I don't need a whole lot, and this thing is almost over. Don't worry, I do have a backup. Soft flex crimp tubes, the bookmark blank, and I am going to be using flush cutters and a magical crimper. And that's it. I'm not using jump rings or anything like that. I'm going to crimp directly onto this blank and directly onto my dangle because there's no sizing or adjustment necessary. So I'm going to pour out some of these colors, and we're going to just start to play because that's what we're doing here. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and take the last of this strand because with room to crimp, and about that long, I think. I don't know if you can see how long I'm holding. Sorry, I've got my haul off to the side. I have, this happens to be, and I'll have some scrap at the end, but that's okay. This happens to be 9.5 inches. Just over 9.5 inches. I'm going to need to have room to crimp and everything like that. And so I'll probably end up using close to this amount, which will leave this, which I will put into my little scrap bag because that's not long enough to do like a bracelet or anything anyway. So we may as well start as we mean to go on. And I'm just going to start with our dangle because we've already decided what we're doing for that. So let me get out my crimp tubes. And we're gonna go ahead and put this on the end and then add in my dangle. And I'm gonna want that to dangle nicely. So I'm gonna have not a large loop, but just definitely a big enough loop that it's gonna move freely here. So, pardon me, I did adjust my camera as well while I was stopped because the other was too far away for doing close work and it's not really that adjustable. So when you're recording, which is a shame, but you can zoom in, you can't zoom out. So like if I wanted to, I could get closer to show you something, but this is the distance, the standard distance. So I went ahead and put this on here. If you haven't used a magical crimper before, I'm going to demonstrate it. It is meant to be used with 0.018 to 0.019 inch diameter wire, which the Softflex is, and with 2x2 crimp tubes. It only works with 2x2 crimp tubes, and you want to make sure you have a good quality crimp tube. I'm trying to get this where you can see it because I've got my dangle already attached. Come on, focus. It has a decent size wall and there is no seam. Those two things are very important when choosing a crimp tube because you don't want your crimp to just crumble. And inside the crimping pliers, there's this concavity. It makes a sphere. That's what we're doing, is we're turning this tube into a little ball of bead. So you just center it inside there and give it a squeeze. And when you've done that, come on. When you've done that, it pinches down those four corners to make it kind of a ravioli shape. So just take that and turn it 90 degrees from where you were, so it's straight up and down inside your ravioli, or inside your pliers. Make sure it's still centered and give it another squish. And then just keep opening your pliers just a little bit and rotate that around, giving it little squishes as you go, so that until you don't feel any resistance. And what it's doing is it's compressing that tube into a strong little ball of crimp. So that's how that works. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to wait to snip this because I think like the bicones and stuff will fit just fine over that. So will the rondelles. The seed beads, I'm not so sure. But I'll start with some of the other blingy things and just absorb that little tail in. Since this isn't going to be worn as jewelry, I'm not worried about that tail coming loose and poking into me. So let's play with pattern. I like pattern, and I could just do this as all kind of random and stuff like that. I may or may not use all of these beads, but I'm pouring out just a little bit of each so that we can play with these colors. Setting the bags off to the side so that they're not glaring back at us. We'll just get the colors on the mat here because we don't need very much of each. Some of them spilled. That's going to be tricky. Okay. I think those were from there. They look more yellow than chiffon or champagne. It's pale yellow. I might actually just take the champagne ones out because I'm more feeling the buttery tones of these other guys. And that's going to give us 3 green toned and 3 yellow toned to work with. I narrowed down a lot of the selections. I haven't narrowed that one down yet, but I think I do want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just start stringing something near the leaf. I think I want green. Just making sure that sits down on there. Just some kind of a green pattern. Maybe I'll do those this. Sorry. That's one of the, I've got the deep green and then the light green, the pale green, and then the rondelle between them. Hope that focus a little bit. So I've got that, and then I think I'm gonna grab a seed bead. Oh, I need to snip because this is a little bit sticky anyway. And picking up seed beads with your beading wire cut at a little bit of an angle is helpful. So I'm gonna snip the sticky bit away at an angle so that I can more easily pick up some of these seed beads. I still haven't got my lighting back to what it's supposed to be. My husband was insistent when we got home that the light over on this other side was farther away, and it wasn't. It wasn't. It was connected closer to my work area. But I did also recently come back, and Becky had had a ring light that she had sent to my mom's house when we did the surprise visit last summer, and my mom, she was thinking mom might want to use it, but she uses different task lighting, so she chose not to. I'm putting the flower bead on because it goes through one petal and between two more. I'm starting between two and ending with the one up top so that when this is strung, my flower sits what I think of as upright. So, yeah. Oh, get some of those seed beads. But I do have that extra ring light. We just got it home, so I haven't had a chance to set it up yet. And I'm thinking a third light in a different position might help balance all of my light issues. We'll see. This is annoying me because it keeps coming loose and poking out. That's okay. That's okay. So we had crystals bracketing a rondelle with the green tones. This time I think I'm going to do the bolder yellow. So get this on camera. So we started with the bolder, the darker green. We're going to start with the bolder yellow as well. And then these lined crystals are like the next step up. And then we have this really pale rondelle. So I think that I'm going to do not the same type of bead pattern, but that same transition of color. So we've got like this green section and this yellow section, and I'm getting close to how long I want this to be. I'm going to go ahead and put another flower. Just getting 3 of those seed beads over here. And another flower. And then at the top here, I'm going to leave out the rondelles, I think, and use a combination of the green and yellow. Oh, let's get some more seed beads to give that flower some space. The fluorite was the perfect color to choose for this project, by the way. I really like it with the greens that I'm using and the yellows and everything. So these are a lot of lined and opaque beads, so you don't see much of it, but you are going to see it at the points of connection, and it feels like it's part of a cohesive design. So I'm going to use this one, the yellow, the light green, and the yellow, and then back to dark green. So we're going to end with dark green on both sides. Now the question is, before I finish this, do I want to change this and put this combination in the middle and the yellow section up at the top? And I'm kind of thinking maybe I do. I feel like it will look more intentional and less like, oh, you made a mistake. Because right now it kind of looks like, oh, you made a mistake. So I'm just pulling this out and adjusting the order that I do things. So putting the combination of green and yellow in the middle and then the yellow at the top it will look like, okay, it's like a transition from one to the other. And I think I will like that better. So getting those seed beads back on. And we will have a beaded bookmark. I like having all the crystals in the middle too, all the bicones in the middle. It's just sparkly. All right. Okay, yes, I like this better. I like this better. So this is the strand for the bookmark. It's a little bit longer than the bookmark blank, but that's what I want to be. This is what would hang on the outside of a book when that bookmark is being used. So it would just drape along the spine. And it's not so long that it's going to get in the way, but it is a nice little touch to whatever you're doing. So I'm just going to get this other crimp tube. I'm going to slide it on there, and then I'm going to add the bookmark blank. So like I said, I'm crimping directly. I'm not bothering with jump rings or anything like that. And I'm holding this crimp tube close to these beads, sticking my thumb between it so I make sure I have enough room for that. And then I'm just pulling this tail until I have this loop about equal to the one on the other end. Again, enough that it can move, but not enough that it's going to be like a big gap. And then there's two things I do differently when I do my last crimp on a project. One of them is that I am not going to take it out and show you my ravioli. And the other one is getting it right up to the beads. So that was the first thing. And the other thing is, instead of taking it out to show you the ravioli, I'm just going to keep crimping, because for me, it's easier to, this is not the normal lighting. I'm so sorry, guys. Anyway, it's easier for me to keep it centered if and we need to pause for the trash again. Okay, I think it's far enough away to not be as noisy. So I'm going to go ahead and press my crimp and then open my jaws enough to rotate it that 90 degrees, because this way I've stayed centered. If I don't need to check my positioning after, it's a lot easier to make sure it stays centered if you keep your crimp in the tool while you're using it. So I'm just going to press that again and do what we did before, where we just rotate around, giving little presses until there's no more resistance and it has formed a nice little ball of crimp. If you need to check it and put it back in, that's fine. Just make sure when you put it back in that it is still centered. And I forgot to string that through some of these things. That's okay. I can do that right here. I have it pretty tight. I might just snip it. I don't normally string back through my beads, because if I'm wearing jewelry, if that tail comes loose, it pokes at me and I hate that. And with this type of crimp, you don't need to have a tail. You don't need to tuck a tail into your beads. It's unnecessary for the integrity of the crimp. So I'll just snip it and don't worry about it. But this is what we made. Let me move my beads a little bit out of the way. And check out our little bookmark that we made from the bookmark blanks that I got. So that could be a fun gift for someone. I might give that to, or one like it, maybe with some different beads, to my husband's grandmother. She loves to do word searches, and so this would hold her place in her word search book, and do that. She's a sweet lady from France, and that's how she increases her vocabulary and learns new words. She does word searches. She's really sweet. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you had fun with my haul. I know this was a little bit of a long video. It was a long haul. So again, thank you for sticking around for the long haul. There's going to be a link in the description to the bargain bead box if you want to sign up so that you can get 30% off at the sister store, Bead Box Bargains. Sorry, hiccups. And maybe some of the tools that I used while I did this, but mainly this was just to show you some of the fun things that I got. And I'm gonna think about my little trick-or-treat bundle. Like I said, I'm a little bit disappointed. I saw the green and I'm like, oh, well, I can forgive the pendant. And then I saw two of my selections are super bright orange, which is difficult for me. So yeah, but I hope that you enjoyed this. I'm going to go ahead and just zoom in a little bit, see if that kind of brightens things up a little. I don't know if it will. I will adjust in editing the lighting if I need to. I'm kind of feeling like I might need to because this feels very dim to me. And didn't before when I was doing the haul part of it. So I might just need to adjust this part of the video. But I am still working on fixing my lighting setup. I have a whole lot of work I need to do in my studio. It is a temporary setup for me right now, but we are working on making it more permanent and better solutions. So bear with me. If the lighting bothers you, I'm sorry. I am doing what I can to fix it. I don't need nasty comments about the lighting, just saying. Had those before, they mess me up. So if you have something that you want to say that is kind or creative or constructive, then please share. But I don't need negative comments. Becky doesn't need negative comments. Nobody honestly needs negative comments. So we see what we need to work on. We don't need people pointing it out. Anyway, a little bit of a sensitive thing that I may cut at the end. Who knows? But this is what I've got right now. Anyway, have a great time. Like I said, I don't know when you're going to see this, but I'm in the middle of my week, and I've got a lot of stuff that I'm still catching up on. So until next time, friends, happy beading, and don't forget to play. Bye.